rebuilding Shitloaf over there, but we're with the American League Rob. I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
I love it. But sometimes on shows, transitions are much more messy.
Sometimes they are.
With staffing changes.
And then you talk about it, and it's very funny. We're talking, of course, I wasn't going to discuss Lauren leaving the Chip podcast again, but since her boyfriend would love me to, I'll be happy to.
Well, so like
I did not hear Legion of Skanks last night. I heard about the first 8 minutes of it this morning on my phone in the car, and then when I came in, Sam mentioned it. So of course we'll discuss it.
Yeah, I watched the last half of it live last night, and then had young Shitloaf go through it for clips this morning. So Lauren obviously was on the Chip podcast, and we found out yesterday that she kind of abruptly left and wasn't doing any more shows out of nowhere. To what Jim said.
I found out very abruptly.
Right.
She had told Bobby apparently before that, but I don't know what they discussed, her doing a couple more shows after or waiting to get a replacement. That I was not privy to. I have no idea what that discussion was. I only know how I dealt with her, and the bottom line is Bob just told me, dude, Lauren's leaving your show. That's how I found out. She never said a word to me. That we were by the way, that wedding thing that we did, we rehearsed that. That wasn't just thrown at her. She knew that was coming. I know, I hate to break the
fourth wall breaking. You know I don't like the curtain being pulled
I know
back.
you don't, but the reality is if someone's going to talk about the way I do things,
right,
it's a job. You know, Chip Chipperson podcast is a fucking fun part of my career, and it's a job, and you got to handle it like a job. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not just you have to like plan things out if you want them to go well. You have to kind of coordinate things on a live show. It's not a hobby, no. Right. No, it's not a hobby. It's the thing you use to fucking pay your bills.
You're not wearing ridiculous wigs and talking in a stupid voice because...
Whoa.
Talking in a different voice
Attaboy.
because it's like, oh, this is what I do in my free time. Sometimes I bowl and sometimes I record shows pretending to be a character.
I had to put on a fucking stupid wig because somebody stole the fucking sunglasses, unshaven, fucking bland guy character. So Lauren's boyfriend Dave Smith is, of course, we've had him in here a bunch of times. He's on the Legion of Skanks podcast, but yesterday has he been in?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dave's been in when Lewis is
no.
Yeah. Yesterday we were talking about it, and of course the theories came up, which I think a lot of people jumped to, which was the only things that make sense are, because it's such a weird and abrupt thing, especially because I'm sure all of you have listened to the Chip podcast and you're well aware that like Lauren was not just, the kind of producer of the Chip show. She was a full-on part of the show, and you had kind of embraced her as the permanent character. Like there were a rotating guest list, but she was she was the only, aside from Chip, permanent on-air fixture.
Absolutely, and I thought she was really good at it. I thought she was funny. I thought she picked up on it well. I thought, like, wow, she's an intuitive person because she picked up how to deal with this fucking asshole character well and make it very funny, and she was treated really nicely there, and, you know, obviously Chip says a bunch of dumb shit. I mean,
if she had a tough time with that, imagine how shitty Lenny Marcus must feel.
And I never said that Dave was behind it. I had gotten, you hear like little rumblings here and there. And I asked, Dave said, Jim Glenn Beck me. Now, if I really thought you did it, Dave, I would have said, fuck Dave, I think he did it.
What does that mean? What is Glenn Beck?
I don't know. It's just another way to a smart political thing that a guy who was really in the know would say. Apparently, it was one of those things that Glenn Beck would not have the guts to say certain things like, is Obama a terrorist? I see. But that's not what I was doing. I'm not a political pundit. I was simply, because I don't know for a fact that he did that. And I was trying to be honest. I wasn't doing shtick. Like Chip is shtick, it's a character. But when I was talking, I was speaking honestly.
So you weren't his accusation is that you're now, without saying, I think it's because her boyfriend Dave didn't want her to do it, you presenting that as, here's a theory, injects it into the conversation.
No, because if I thought that he did it, I would have said I thought he did it.
Yeah, right.
I've been doing stand-up a long time. I don't need to hide behind fucking stupid questions. If I really meant that, I would have said that. I honestly didn't know. And the only reason I give a shit about a text message being returned, it just seemed odd, and I didn't hear back from you, and that my feelings weren't hurt. I mean, I didn't care that, like, me and Dave never corresponded before.
Right, because that was a big
And I'm
thing.
glad, sorry, Sam, I'm glad in the first 8 minutes I heard that they were listening to it and their sides were splitting with laughter. I'm very happy because now I can talk, because I was under the impression that somebody was extraordinarily upset that I had talked about it on the air. And I was under the impression that somebody had called Bobby Kelly in tears that I had talked about on the air and said I humiliated them. When the fact is, that...
Was it Lewis? Because he was worried that he wasn't going to get Legion of Skanks plugs on the show anymore?
No.
Bob, you can't let Jim talk about the show. You can't let Jim talk about
But when I got that call, I actually re-listened to the segment. I'm like, did I say anything fucked up? Because I wasn't out to humiliate anybody. I was simply telling the truth the way it happened. Like, I know I talk about Chip in the third character. It's a fucking... But the podcast is a job. Just like this is a job, and I do take it seriously because, I don't know, it's again, part of how I make my living.
Right.
And I'm not a fucking, you know what I mean? I love doing it, and it's fun, and I walk around nude. Of course, I talk about it. I'm naked in my house half the time by myself doing Chip voices. I know it's crazy.
We should do the podcast like that. I wouldn't mind taking a look.
Yeah, remember you said that when I invite you on again. Fucking, I'll show you my pecker, you piece of garbage. Yeah, I forgot to shave. I got something interesting to say. Fuck you. Hey, check out my sunglasses. There's deep shit going on behind here. Suck my pecker, you bland piece of Melba toast.
Okay, so
no, but honestly, there's no. I'm glad to hear. I'm actually happy that Bobby got it wrong, and that there was no.
So you thought there was
upset phone call for real,
right?
And I'm glad we can just talk about this freely on the air because I was trying to be really, and I even sent a text afterwards to her to say, and I'm not going to shit all over, because I don't know how much of this is her, like, actually saying, yeah, like, fuck him, or if she was just upset about it and wants to move on, and her boyfriend is handling this in a really stupid fashion.
I mean, for somebody that wanted to get out of podcasting, and I don't know, I was kind of, because like I said, I only listened to the last half of this thing, but it seemed like she also might be getting out of comedy altogether, like not doing the show business thing anymore. I don't know why, like, she would want her boyfriend to be like, let's further this and, like, spend an hour addressing it. Because that really, I mean, this situation, with all due respect to the Chip podcast, is shining a bigger light on her and her position on the Chip podcast than being on the podcast ever did.
I don't know why. I still, to this day, do not know why. I'm okay. Like I said, I'm okay with the fact that she left. It's a gig. People leave gigs.
Right.
The reality was, when I texted her, would you do one more? I went through my text yesterday. And she absolutely, I'm just going to go, okay, cool. There was no, again, maybe they think Bobby should have told me sooner and he was just waiting until the live show got done. And that's fine, whatever it was. No matter what, if she would have just said, yeah, I'll do the one more. Okay, no problem. That would have been it. It literally would have been the end of it. It's just, I know, again, maybe to him it's a weird thing, but the fans have been really good about it. But I'm happy to hear, according to Dave, that they listened to it and their sides were splitting with... Phenomenal. Now I don't have to feel bad about mentioning it.
My thing on it, because I was listening to someone with Dave, and I was like, okay, I get what Dave's saying, and yeah, sure. But, like, his position, and we'll play some clips from their show last night, but his position was that, like, she was leaving, and maybe, and that you were overreacting and turning this into a bigger thing, but from my perspective, because we talked about it, and, like, you were like, have you kind of heard anything, or am I crazy, or is this weird? And you explained the situation. I was like, no, that's weird, because I was like, for somebody that's been a part of the show regularly, to all of a sudden, even if it's in your head, we've had to deal with that here. If it's in a person's head, for 6 weeks, I'm going to get ready to leave. And then they tell you, okay, I'm leaving right now. We're not there for the 6 weeks in your head figuring this stuff out. Like, our perspective has been, Chip's perspective, your perspective has been, this person is happy in her position, she's being treated well, like, this should be fine. And
if her and Bobby spoke about something and I didn't know about that.
That's not your responsibility to know.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, the part that is, like, shitty is you texting and being like, okay, can you do one more show? And not being like, fuck you for leaving, actually trying to work around this thing. So you're trying to make the exit seamless by bringing her on for one more show and having a storyline exit and blah, blah, blah. To get to a place where you're getting the runaround in the sense that, like, yeah, I'll do it. No, I won't. Yeah, I'll do it. No, I won't. And then this other part where she and Dave are not responding to your texts. It's like, how did you go from putting this person on your show, which, you know, you can laugh about Chip all you want. It's a big podcast. Like, it's good for a person to be on the podcast. But to then go from this spot where you've given this person a very big position on this thing that has turned out to be big for you, to go from that to you're an asshole because you're sitting there begging a person to do your show and not getting responded to and being lied to and being misdirected. It's like that is the shitty part to me, because you become the asshole, and it's like, what did you do to...
And I wasn't going to beg to do her to do the show. I was like, again, an adult can leave a project. I thought, like, why would you want to why wouldn't you want to finish it? Like,
right.
Why wouldn't you want to have one? Because like I told you, I said to her, like, do you want Chip's vibe with you can change on the air? Like, I'm happy to, but she didn't want any of that. She wanted to leave. Okay, cool. Well, then just finish one out. I don't think it's too much to ask when you've become a part of it. When I didn't know who you were. And then all of a sudden, we go out, we eat, we talk, and I'm like, yeah, this okay. Boom, she seems like she's smart and she's nice and she's a hard worker, and it would work pretty well on the air. And
she wants to do this.
Yeah, and she wanted to do it. Or maybe Bobby talked to her. I don't know.
Right.
All I know is I didn't lobby to get her on. I didn't know who she was.
Your perception was she wanted to do it.
Yeah, that was my perception, and she was great. And I've said it a million times. She was great, and I know Chip would go far on the air. And I say it like that because I don't want to say I would go far in the air, because when I spoke to her like I'm talking to you, I was always really respectful. And there's a huge difference between when you're in a half-retarded, fucking aggressive, autistic, douchey character saying, your fucking coda stinks. There's a little difference between that and me when the mics are off saying, hey, your tits are like, there's a whole different energy there, and we all know that.
You're not Bubba the Love Sponge going like, yeah, well, your pussy stinks when I fuck you.
Yeah,
like,
she was treated very, very respectfully. Very respectfully. So I'm not out to make her feel bad about it. If she ever comes out and says, like, oh yeah, fuck him, then I'll address it.
She has not, by the way, said anything like that.
Not at all. And apparently I heard that she made a phone call and she was very, very upset, maybe because she hadn't heard the segment. But I talked nicely about her in the segment. I didn't shit on her. I didn't say fuck her. I didn't feel that way.
But I also know why she'd be upset, because I was listening to them last night, and Dave said that, like, the Twitter stuff, whether people were nice to her or not, didn't bother her at all.
That's good. Whew, because that's that was really.
I heard him say. Like,
okay, you hear little rumblings about on Twitter, like, oh, Dave got her leave. And again, I didn't have any evidence of that, and that's why I didn't paint it like that to be Glenn Beck, Dave. I painted it like that because I honestly was trying to be fair about it, because I didn't know the truth. And if that was not the truth, then fine, it wasn't the truth. I wasn't going to accuse him.
Sure,
but if it's a gig, if it's to you. Like, oh, how could he give a shit? It's a stupid little thing. Fine. But to me, it's a part of, it's professional and it's a career thing. And to walk out like that, I just thought was, whatever. I just didn't like it.
It's also, first of all, anybody that's like in this thing, like that is a comedian or a podcaster or broadcaster or any type of this industry that honestly goes like, oh, the Chip thing is stupid. It's like, dude, like, I understand that
it is, yes. Of course.
But, like, it's a real thing now. You know what I mean? It's not just this throwaway, over here, it's an idiot over here. Chip is a character. He's not actually, whatever, I don't, but it's a real thing. And if you had come on, and I don't want to place blame on people, but if you'd come on and done the last show thing and just done one more and been like, okay, this is how we'll write you off like you would on a series,
sure,
there wouldn't be this air of controversy and like weirdness, and
it would have been done without any fanfare. It would have just been like, okay, hey, take care. I was great. I appreciate it.
Right.
And that would have been it.
And there wouldn't have been mystery. Nobody would have been like, Jim, what happened with Lauren? That you'd
None
be like,
of it.
Right. She left and we did a thing on the show.
And we moved along, we moved on, and that's what happens in show business and in fucking life and in all jobs. People move forward.
Yeah.
You're a 30-year-old woman. You have your right to do what you want to do with your life. You want to move on and you want to just kind of, hey, I want to mellow out and do good for you.
Right.
But if she has ill feelings towards me, after the way I treated her when she was there, then I don't know what to tell you, because I was extraordinarily nice to her when she was there, and I made her feel like she was a part of the creative process, and I valued her input, and I treated her probably on a professional level a lot more like a peer than the person she dates treats her. I'm not saying he treats her badly, but I don't know if they do projects together.
On a professional.
Professional, yeah. I only mean professional. I mean, as a professional, I treated her like, this is an important project to me, and you're an important part of it.
It is a weird thing, dude, because, again, Chip is an idiot, but on some level, you know, you've struck something with the character in the sense that, you know, the numbers that it's consistently doing are real life numbers. And to be willing to share that character is not something that every performer would do for somebody who's a producer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and again, I don't overvalue it and think that it's fucking a life. It's just a stupid, funny diversion, but it's doing a lot better than I thought it was doing.
Right.
It was going to do, and it's progressed a lot as a work project, and it's something it's one of my favorite things in the world to do is that fucking stupid podcast. It's fun. It's just a fun thing. So whatever. Let's hear a couple of the clips. Because, again, I'm not going to shit all over her. Because, she was great on the fucking show. I really mean that, too. Like, no matter what she comes out and says, if she comes out and bashes me, okay. But I think the audience knows I'm pretty straight with you about certain things. And I just have to say that word in quotes.
Well, yeah, you're pretty straightforward.
But
truthful, I guess, is the word.
We never had an even remotely tense moment behind the scenes. There was never a remotely uncomfortable moment. Honestly, never.
Did you ever, and I don't know, and that's why I asked, did you ever send her a message on Facebook that says, I just want to fuck?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
That is not.
I did not.
Generally something you want to do with coworkers.
No, I did not. No, I did not. But I heard some of this, and maybe they're just trying to cover it and move forward, and that's cool too. But when I heard the first 8 minutes in the taxi, because I had a really great Uber driver today, so I didn't get to hear more. If it was half my Uber driver, I would have heard fucking the whole show twice. But when he was like, I was trying like Glenn Beck, like almost like I'm trying to say something but afraid to say it. Or no, I just didn't want to be an unfair asshole and accuse you of something when I had heard those little rumblings. And again, I don't necessarily believe Twitter, or if I get a Facebook message or a fucking email from a fan, I'm not an idiot.
And just so everything's in perspective too, like this idea that there would be this drama between shows, like this is not to say it's like we don't do the exact same thing, but this is Legion of Skanks MO a little bit. They love.
And that's fine.
They love the drama. I absolutely think it's fine. We come from the same place.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not afraid. I care about other shows. Don't play them. I don't care if it's shine a light on another show.
We'll talk about it, but we won't mention the show by name.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. I don't care about any of that.
You're not worried that people will be like, oh, I heard about this show on Jim and Sam. I'll never listen to Jim and Sam again.
I don't give a fuck.
No, of course not.
Not at all. But let's hear what they.
What's this first clip?
Yes. If it's in the first 8 minutes, I've heard it. If it's not, I have not.
Yeah, let's see here. Shitloaf said they start talking about it seriously at 5:28.
Okay.
No, what about the clips that you came in with?
Dave responds saying, "Lauren."
Yeah. Go to
play it.
Go to the ones that he came in with that are marked.
Okay, so you don't want to hear when they start talking about it.
No, because they just ramble sometimes.
Okay.
No.
She goes, I'll get
for some other shit. And
with Big J, huge news, can't talk about it.
Huge major thing.
Can't announce it yet.
Changing.
Can't
We're quitting the
announce it
podcast. All right.
Do I get the bonfire all to myself? Oh, I've been planning this the whole time.
Again, no one told me anything about this bonfire show.
Son of a bitch.
They talk about it.
So I was getting tweets about it, but I kind of knew Lauren was leaving, so I was just kind of like, I guess it's like a thing that I'm getting tweets.
So she told you.
Yeah, I'll get into all. Lauren's been leaving. That's been like months in the making. She gave months notice. I mean, I'm not going to give everything. Like Lauren's out
like
of
a farmer.
podcasting
She
now.
gives like fucking harvest news. She goes, by next crop moon, I will be gone.
This I heard.
She gave I thought a retarded amount of notice if you went to leave for what the job was. But so I just started getting a lot of tweets about this, and I weirdly started getting things like the thing that I got a lot of is that like you didn't return Norton's text. Whatever, why'd you make Lauren leave? A lot of shit like this. And I just figured it's kind of like, just fans being fans. Lauren left. And then Lewis, when I saw him, was like, oh yeah, I think like Jim said something about it. And I was just, 100% certain. Like I would have bet money that it was like when he was joking in some way. Like he was when he said like, "Oh, Dave didn't return my text." I figured it was in the context of a like, "Son of a bitch can't even get a text returned from Dave." You know, like it's a
That would have been a great joke. I should have said that. Son of a bitch can't even get a text return from Dave. Huh. That would have been a hilarious one. Why didn't I think of that?
I don't think it would have lit the room on fire.
That would have been a fucking killer. I should have said that.
You think so?
Fuck yes. Holy shit. Fucking Chip Smith. Fucking didn't return my text. Go on now.
I mean, me and Lauren listened to it together last night. He couldn't have been more serious. He was like having an inside the actor studio moment about Chip Chipperson.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, Chip was angry that day. Like, it's like, I was like, wait, what's
Is it weird
going on?
that I was having an inside the actors studio moment about a person that doesn't exist that is more popular than anything you've done?
Oh boy. Yeah. No. Yeah. Of course not. It's a character.
Yeah. So I was discussing it not as an inside the studio moment, but kind of just as a person who's like, this is my job.
Right.
And I was trying to figure out why somebody was leaving the job that I do. Yeah, I was trying to be professional about it. I know it's like, cool to roll up your shirt sleeves and go like, I don't care what this is, but you know, it's our job. It's I hate to break the fourth wall, but it is a job.
So he said that he and Lauren were laughing about it. Just
At one point, he does say that, yeah, which is
just
actually
said it just there.
Yeah, I'm relieved actually to hear that she was laughing about it. I am more relieved because I don't want her upset about like anything
Right.
I've said.
So maybe Bob misheard the thing.
Maybe it was laughter when he
Right.
thought it was actual tears.
Right.
Okay, cool.
I mean that's just
Absolutely.
an error in communication.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah, and for Dave to act like, how could Jim be serious? How can I be serious? Because it's a work issue that somebody is leaving and they're not doing it in a way that I think is professional. Yeah, sorry, I look at it like that.
I love on a podcast when people are like, "Why would you take a podcast seriously?" As we talk about this on our podcast.
Exactly. But I'm glad he's lighthearted about. That's cool. Good.
Right.
Pull up
Let me
actually
just
clip
say-
4. 'Cause
I just say this
what
and
you're
we can
talking
look-
about. Yeah.
Me and Lauren listened to this last night, and I don't want to give the wrong. Look, Lauren's
Lauren
out of
and
this
I.
world now. She can give her explanation.
She
for
turned
what
in her
wants.
gun and her badge.
Yeah.
I can't podcast here anymore.
She's not podcasting and doing
Here,
stand-up
Chip,
anymore.
take your hat with a helicopter thing on top.
That's funny.
If she wants, she doesn't really need to talk about it. If she wants to, she can. Like, I don't know. I'll give you my perspective since I was kind of inserted into it. But like,
Ew.
I don't want to make this.
Is that what he means?
misleading, just as
Ew. He's talking about his personal life.
Yeah, it's by the way, speaking of inside the actor's studio, I'll give my perspective. Shut up. What happened? I'll give my perspective.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, an intellectual giant is about to spit out what happened. Just fucking tell us.
He was inserted into it.
Yes, I'll give my perspective, gentlemen.
And like that,
Lauren's not-
like he was like handcuffed and thrust into this situation. Not like it's like you're right there, bro.
Oh, God, he's background noise. Literally.
Did you know this was months in the making? That's what he said.
He did say that.
I have no idea. If I knew it was months in the making,
Like
maybe it was. But if I knew it, then I never would have been stupid enough to go, I had no idea it was coming, because I have a memory. So if somebody had ever indicated to me, I wouldn't have said, could you do a last show?
I mean, that's a great point to bring up because there's a huge difference, right? When you're leaving a job to give a quote unquote, retarded amount of notice versus zero notice. Like those are the two fields that we're working with right now. From your perspective, it was zero. From Dave's perspective, it was just an insane, absurd amount of notice.
Well, here's how I kind of know that even if it was a certain amount of notice with Riot Cat or whatever, she knew, I think, that I didn't know it because of just when we were talking and going over this live podcast. Like, she didn't know that those videos were coming. I actually did that. I'm like, oh, she'll love this. The Rock and Gervais. No one knew that was coming. That was like I was going to surprise her with that. I'm like, she'll laugh at that. She'll enjoy. But she obviously knew that I didn't know she was going because the way we were talking about this rehearsal. Like, she was great. She came over that day before we went down to the venue together. We went through the motions of it, because I knew I wanted to go to the tape a certain way. So she knew I didn't know that she was going because we had never mentioned it to each other. So why wouldn't I have mentioned it?
I wonder when she was like, when she saw the video of The Rock mentioning her, if she was like, oh shit, I probably should have said something before he went and had this video made of The Rock mentioning me.
I don't know.
Because I probably would have been like, oh fuck, I should have said something. The Rock just name dropped me because I'm on this show, but I'm definitely leaving, but I definitely didn't say anything.
Yeah, look, again, still free to leave, but don't
Right.
make me look like I'm irrational to be annoyed that someone didn't agreed to do a final episode, didn't do it. Don't act like I'm this fucking moron who's like at home with a fucking mop on my head going, Mommy, look, I'm in the school play. Gee whiz, how come you're not taking it seriously? It's like, it's a gig. It's something you're doing, and when you leave it, you do it a certain way. That's all. But
What
please.
is this, inside the actor's studio?
I know. Sorry, I didn't mean it. He said inside the studio. Fucking
Inside-
doesn't even know the name of the show. Inside the studio. All right, go ahead.
Not cool with that. Lauren is not doesn't like Bobby and Jim. I just say that, but
Wait. Rewind a little bit. What was that?
I don't know, but if she doesn't like me, it has to be, dude, for the way things were done on the show. It has to be. Because again, I've never had an unkind word with her. Okay, hold on. She doesn't like. I don't read people's text messages. There was nothing. I'm going to read you something. I'm going to read you a legit
you can
text
look it
message.
up while you're looking it up. I get a lot of things frustrate me. I was going to say nothing frustrates me as much, but a lot of things frustrate me. But one of the things that frustrates me to no end is when people just decide to stop communicating altogether. This idea that, like, you could live in this existence where it's like, oh, it's this person that I worked with and I really did right by and we had a great time working together, versus she wanted to leave for months and she did not like Jim and Bobby. What?
Hold on a second. If I can, I have to find.
That don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense at all. Let me find the. This was after she had agreed. I only want you to read this one thing, and I'm not going to.
You want me to read it out loud or to myself?
Out loud. There's nothing personal. I would never, even if she and I were mad at each other, even if she hated me, I would never betray personal information. But there's nothing in this. I'll read what I wrote.
Okay.
This is a text message I sent. Just so anyone thinks that if I was a difficult or an asshole, I said, would you do one more episode where you say that you're leaving? It would be kind of some kind of closure, and it makes more sense than having you just disappear. We will handle it well. Chip will be bombed. I meant bummed. That's what I talk text. Chip will be bummed, but it will at least be illogical, and then we can find someone new. And then I corrected and said bummed. That was it.
Ebenezer Scrooge?
Yeah,
This is terribly demanding.
That was what I said. We will at least, it will be logical. Hold on, let me see if there's anything in there that she wrote that I don't want you. Because I think I had asked her on the phone, did Chip ever do anything like in that character to make you uncomfortable? Because again, when you're
Because
working
I'll talk to him. If Chip ever did anything to you, I will tell him to knock it off.
Let me see if she. I only want you to. I don't want you to read this. Let me read it because there's something that she said that I don't want read because it might be private. Nothing major, but again,
I can see the text from here. It says "Apekas."
This is what she responded. Because I think I had said to her, would you do one more? She writes, yeah, of course. I go to LA and I'll be back the first week of October. If we can do it then, yeah, that would be great. I just want to thank you again for everything. You've been awesome to work with. Everything about the show has been great, and you've never once made me feel uncomfortable at all. If anything, you've made me too comfortable and encouraged me to be great on the show.
Oh.
I just need to focus on my life. That
That sounds
thank
like
you.
seething hatred.
And I'm just editing there a little bit because, again, it was nothing but whatever. Thank you again for everything. And let's plan for my last show to be the first week of October. Let me know. And again, I'm sorry. And thank you for everything, Jim. That was the tone of our relationship. There was not 1 ounce of shittiness between me and her. There was never a fucking a nasty exchange.
So why didn't you do the last show first week of October?
I don't know. That's why. But if anyone wants to know why I felt a little bit surprised, that was why.
Right.
That was why. Because we had that exchange. She couldn't do it then. Okay, cool. But so if Dave wants to pretend like, oh my God, he had no idea or she didn't like Jim. If she didn't like me, fine, but then she wasn't being very real with me when we were having a conversation. I don't necessarily believe that.
Maybe she didn't like Jim, but she loved Chip.
How could she not?
Some people don't love confrontation, though. You know what I mean? They don't even know how to handle it.
And they just lie?
So it's just easier just to be like, dude, it's awesome. No, we're good. Thank you so much, man. Instead of being like, hey, man, I just want to let you know when Chip did this really bothered me.
You know what? That could be absolutely right. But I know that there were times after shows where, again, Chip would say fucking horrible things about me.
Right.
It's like Chip says horrible shit. That's part of what Chip Chipperson is. Where I said to her, like, are you cool with that? I'm like, there was a lot of times I would check in with her and just go, like, just because we could change the tone of that. Because as myself, I never want to be a fucking make somebody uncomfortable who's on a show with me.
And when people don't communicate, that's not your responsibility to be
I'm a grown up, and I'm working with other grown ups, and anyone who isn't communicating, you would kind of hope that they would say something.
When you say, "Are you okay with this?" and a person says yes,
Yeah.
it's not your responsibility to then try to figure out if by yes they mean no.
And I had asked on more than one occasion, because again, I don't know her that well. And I know Chip would make, because, she's a beautiful girl, and Chip would say fucking horrible, stupid stuff about her breasts. He didn't mean it. You know what I mean? It was like, you want to make sure that as a person, like, this is just part of this dumb fucking character, and there's nothing real behind it. And I hope you don't think of it that way.
I mean, there's still no answer. Maybe she was comfortable with everything. That's not to say she was lying about everything. She's not. Nobody said she's uncomfortable with anything.
Yeah.
So far, but nobody said anything.
Yeah.
It's still a mystery.
Okay.
Like if she wants, she doesn't really need to talk about it. If she wants to, she can. Like I don't know. I'll give you my perspective since I was kind of inserted into it. But like I don't want to make this misleading. Just to say, Lauren's not cool with them. Lauren is not doesn't like Bobby and Jim. I just say that. But me and Lauren listened to this last night.
Well, you're saying she's not cool with them.
She's not cool. They didn't leave on good terms. So I just say that. If she wants to get into details of it,
I would love to. I'd love her to. I would love her to. How could she not?
That's news to you, right?
100%. 100%.
That was my idea alarm.
I wish it sounded like a shotgun.
Would it be if the bonfire stole the exclusive interview with Lauren?
She's like, you know what? I don't even want to leave podcasting. That was all Dave.
She goes, Dave, I told him nothing made me happier than when I was Chip's girlfriend for an hour a week. I got to be loved by a funny man.
if she remember Mike Tyson's wife, she just spilled out of it in a TV interview. We just go on together and she just still throws me on the bus.
Dude.
But I would just say, me and Lauren did, like, we listened to it together, and I mean, we literally grabbed our sides laughing at certain points of this. Like, you even just looking at this.
Why does he live his life like a fucking 1930s film character? Who grabs their sides laughing? I'm actually relieved to hear that, though. Yeah. That makes me feel better. Like, I'm glad. I really mean that, too, because I don't want some woman that I used to work with upset or feeling like she was treated poorly. I am happy that they were able to listen to it and laugh. That's good.
Cracking the fuck up.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. How many views you got on your videos, suck cucka?
Okay, that's Chip's getting real.
Speaking of side split and laughter.
Yeah.
Video's been up for a year. They got 19 views.
Chip's got an army.
Go on now.
Really,
Go to clip number 4. Listen, go to clip number 4 talking about how Jim thought it was weird how Dave didn't respond.
It had nothing to do with anything behind the scenes that I know of. And if she was influenced to quit,
like
or
Inception.
pressured to quit,
Listening to them, listening
I'll
to
never
us.
know
Yeah,
the
it's
true
weird.
story, but I hope that's not true. I like Dave.
That's my
I don't want
voice.
to turn around. I don't want to turn around and despise him. I really don't.
But that would be the result of that news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want. I'm not saying it's him.
Yeah, but pause it for a second.
Saying that-
Sam is a shit-stirring scumbag.
What? You are, but I didn't take that as shit stirring.
What? Yeah, no,
We were just literally discussing something.
let me
That's the
tell you
moment. Rewind it
something.
for a
Can I tell
second.
you that Sam was probably doing this with the evil fingers as he said that? He goes, you wouldn't think that.
So the result would be that you would despise him, though.
Sam, I can't tell you.
Hate the way his voice goes up too.
Dude, even when he's drawing someone hypothetically hating me out of it, I just love Sam's hosting. Like, just
he's
a
good.
fucking great
That
radio.
motherfucker's a broadcaster.
He just knows how to lead a radio show. But, dude, I mean, okay, am I crazy? Or Norton talking about me like I murdered a family member, potentially.
No, hold on a second. Norton's not talking about you like you murdered a family member. Jesus Christ, at least we know Chip's a character.
Oh boy.
I'm not talking about like you murdered a family member. I had heard rumblings and speculation about it, and I was trying to be nice about it and not come out and accuse you of something that you might not have done, because I would have just, if that was the case, and obviously it wasn't. He said he didn't influence it. Great, he didn't. But if it was, I would have lost respect for him as a performer, because if you're a performer and you're bothered by something that your girlfriend is doing, then you're kind of a weak performer. But he said he didn't do it, and I believe him.
If you found out that a comic had murdered a family member, would you bash them on the air, or would you be even more mad than that?
I would probably be mad about the chip thing because it's getting more views than my fucking murdered family member.
That's true. What, family members not making me any money. Like, there's more family members.
Yeah.
Just don't
Coming
kill the
forward and
viewers.
exposing you the way he is.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. People can
Dave, here's the answer to one question.
They could believe what they would believe.
I want to know this.
It's like
before we
fucking
even move
Bobo
forward.
and a pseudo intellectual. I don't really know exactly. You know,
You think if Bobo, wouldn't it be a great experiment to have Bobo sit around and watch like Fox News 24 hours a day and then come to us with these like new theories
it
and
would be-
stuff?
yeah, but no, I didn't talk about you like you murdered a family member. No, I was just I would have hated you if I thought you fucked with a project I was doing, and I speculated about it, but I didn't say you did it. And if I thought you did it, I would have said I thought you did it.
Right.
I don't need to speak in a weird character form like that, but I really didn't know, and so I threw it out there because if I didn't throw it out there, because I had heard rumblings of it, then I'm a fucking liar, and I'm not going to avoid it.
Don't fuck with the money, Dave.
But again, he says he didn't. Okay, he didn't. And when I didn't hear back from him, yeah, it was a little odd.
That's very odd.
But, you know, especially when I was asking because I was like, is she okay physically? That was the only reason I texted him. Why the fuck would I text you about something with her with work?
You think he'd be like, oh my God, the Jim Norton texted me?
But maybe,
Me?
or maybe he could have just thought like, wow, you know what? They work together, and she hasn't gotten back to him, and he actually is concerned for her, and he wants to make sure she's okay. Because that really was the only.
Even
tone
if
of it.
it's, hey Lauren, you should text Jim back. He's worried about you.
Yeah, like yeah, maybe.
That's not that crazy, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
No.
Or in the
Absolutely.
conversation.
Let's
I don't
settle it.
Like, look, do you hit Lauren?
I
I don't want to get your back in this shit, and then I find out you're actually.
Oh,
hitting
yeah, you
Lauren,
don't want to
dude.
get Afflecked.
Yeah.
if you have known me as long as you've known me and still have to ask whether I'm hitting Lauren,
Yeah.
we're not the friends I thought.
true.
we were.
And that
hitting her.
answer is clearly yes.
He's definitely fucking her up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
All
right,
right. Yeah, we settled the question.
Body
now
shot.
let's
Old
move on.
body shot Smith.
I give her nothing but leg kicks. It's a very strange type of.
How could they
Muay
be?
Thai
Hold on.
back.
If I'm glad to hear she was not, but if she was upset at me speaking nicely on the air about her leaving, how could you not be upset by your boyfriend joking about beating you up? I know he's joking too. I don't think he hits her, but like, don't be.
I don't think Chip was licking her cooter either.
Fuck yeah, he was.
Oh, I bet he was.
Fucking lapped that shiznit till the cows came home.
Do you want to skip ahead a little bit to a part where it gets more?
A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the next?
Dave says he never influenced Lauren.
The next shitloaf poll.
Okay.
That should be our new bit. Shitloaf polls.
Yeah, these are the little clips of the day, or shitloaf polls.
Shitloaf polls. We got more shitloaf polls coming up.
I'm concerned for this person I work for, and I never heard back. It's
huge.
So let me stop that and ask: did he was he texting her and you?
Well, let me just
and not
address
getting
the influencing her to leave and then the text thing, because I just want to adjust. And I mean, again, like, this is just the truth. I don't care whatever people want to believe. I have never. Obviously, people know me. I encourage all female comedians to quit, but But that's just like a blanket, consistent thing on my part. I have never, my position, and me and Lewis have talked about this a few times, like, my position with Lauren and her comedy and podcasting career was really always like...
You're going to roll your eyes when you say her comedy, Dave. Jesus.
Oh, no, was that... A lot of people don't watch the video, Lewis. Come on.
No, you verbally did it, too. It's the first verbal eye roll I've ever heard.
She literally got treated nicer by a non-existent human being than on her own boyfriend's podcast.
That sucks.
She was spoken to as jokingly, but nicer on Chip's podcast. And she would tell me all the time that Chip's fans were nicer than Bobby's. She was like, Chip's fans are nice to me.
Right.
They how they would
Well,
always.
she was the hero on the show.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's hear what he says.
Oh, he really turned over.
No, but I never
I've never
really,
seen somebody do the jerk off motion with both hands.
He goes, he does like she's crazy. Oh.
Look, honestly, for the time she was in it, she was doing like cool things, and obviously the podcasting is really what she got some like success with. But I never really encouraged or discouraged anything. I was always kind of like, do what you want to do. I feel like that's kind of my ethic in comedy. Like, you got to be, if you want to do comedy, you got to be convinced you want to do it. I'm not going to convince you to,
Yeah.
or not. But Lauren, for like her own reasons for months now. Just didn't want to do this. So she told this is the story, at least from what I understand, and I'm not going to put too much of her shit out there. But she told Bobby, I believe, 3 months.
Chip is raping me every day after the show.
Bobby, why won't you do something?
Please,
He said, good.
Yeah, he goes, Dad,
That's Bobby Kelly for you.
podcast, Dad? Dad, why are you dressing like a whore?
Bobby, please. Please. It's in the Riotcast studio. It's under your jurisdiction.
Now get on the Riot casting couch, dude.
That's Dan and Zach Amico, by the way.
Yeah, Dan Soder and Zach Amico
In
are
studio
on the
with
show
Lewis and Dave.
Yeah.
Dad, you want to be on all the podcasts? I can make you star.
Bobby's sitting in his big chair.
Oh, shit. All right, so
Okay, so anyway, so whatever. She told Bobby months ago, and Bobby and they can say whatever they want to. Bobby told Lauren not to tell Norton and that he would handle it with Norton.
That might be even true. Maybe that was even the truth. Maybe they did discuss that. Or maybe he said, Bobby told me that he said, and again, I'm getting into their discussions, and I was not privy to that, but they had, I guess, talked about it, and he was under the impression that she was going to at least stick around until a replacement was found, or that's what I was told. But I can only go by what she communicated to me.
Right.
Whatever they want to say.
I'm not my background. You know what, dude?
I'm a regular.
We both are. We're core 4.
I'm regular. I'm saying I'm irregular. One of my arms is longer than the other one. It's a thing, dude.
That was not good,
You are a
Lewis.
regular.
Lewis.
That was not
Lewis,
funny.
I like you.
I do too, but that was not a funny joke.
I'm irregular. That wasn't even a joke. It was kind of a serious statement.
Irregular, you could say something about your bowel movements or something, but
Then again, that's never good comedy advice. Go for the shit.
One arm is longer than the other, though. Yeah, you were born
I wish
just
the longer arm had the fucking mute button in front of it.
My mom got me in a discount bin.
Yeah, she goes, this one? They go, just take it, lady.
She let you know every day. That's why you're her son.
You're a discount bin baby.
I only took you because you were cheap.
Marshall's has an orphanage?
So she told Bobby.
Listen, again, this to me, honestly, all seems like something that should take place over a phone call. But seeing as how it's all being put out there and it's speculated.
Well, hold on a second. Let me. There was a phone call, and there were text messages, and everything was agreed on, and then it was. I just was never communicated with again. That was how it was handled, with a phone call. Hey, what's okay? I'm shocked that you're leaving. I didn't know. Cool, but. Then when you said you would do one more, oh my God, of course, the first week when I get back and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden just didn't do it. Well, then what did you want me to do? I had to talk about it because all of a sudden this character that's popular is gone. What do I do? Not discuss it?
Plus, I mean,
But thank you for saying that, Dave. You're correct. A phone call and some text message, that's how it was handled.
but it would have been easier. You could have done it even earlier if you would handle it with a phone call that could have been preceded by some text messages if they were responded to.
Yes, and if you were not happy on the podcast, or if you didn't like the way the fans were
Technically,
addressing you,
it's a podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I can't control that. And if you didn't have the ability as an adult to say that, or the desire to, whatever the reasons were, I can't control that either. I can only control what I was told. I'm not a fucking mind reader.
I feel, yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
So I never, look, Lauren, when she wanted to do the show, the first time Lauren said she didn't want to do the podcast with Jim to me, my response was like, think about that before you leave because it's a big show. Like, think about, make that decision. But once she did, and she had some pretty good reasons, I was like, okay. How do you argue with someone going, they don't want to do this anymore?
And I know you can't speak for Lauren, and the truth is, like, we spoke about this before, and you almost... The first reaction, we were like, I don't even know what to talk about it because I don't want to give Lauren's business out because she, she's had some like health issues and there's been like,
she has had a lot of health issues.
There's been some shit.
Lauren's like a pretty open chick about this.
I know.
Lauren's like, she doesn't really give a fuck. Like, Lauren is probably, if not probably the most thick-skinned chick I've ever like known. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. Lauren's like, her family's like crazy. There's like crazy loud and Italian ball-busty family. Yeah. Like, they're not like sensitive. Like I don't know.
They're really dirty people, aren't they?
It's like
the Italians.
Lauren's thing wasn't that like anything that
another idea
like a gag or something that was said to her. It's like Lauren has beef with like working for these two guys. It's like a different relationship than you guys know it at. You know what I mean?
I know the relationship working for Bobby.
Oh yeah,
it's a goddamn Nazi.
Hey, pause.
How could she have had a beef working for me? She was treated completely. And if she had an issue working with me, as many times as we talked off the air, There was never a moment of aggression. There was never, she was never yelled at, never spoken loudly to. I would always tell her, "You're great on the show." But that text message from her was the communication I got. So if she wasn't being genuine in that, I can't speak for somebody who is, I can only go by what Dave is saying, and I have not, I can't communicate through Dave. My direct communications with her were the polar opposite of what he's saying.
That's what I got from that, though, that he's saying that this had more to do with working with you and Bobby.
Yeah, I
off
don't
the air
necessarily.
than on the air.
I don't believe that.
You don't?
I'm going to say I absolutely do not believe that. I've been told that she didn't like the way the fans responded or the way the fans spoke about her, and maybe that's true. I don't know if that's the truth or
He
not.
said it's not. He said she's very thick-skinned.
He did say that. So apparently he doesn't care if they say things about her on Twitter. Okay, cool. That's a good way to be in this business.
Did you just Glenn Beck your way into more negative tweets?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. I'm just saying
I
I've
didn't even
been
know
killed
Glenn-
on Twitter for fuck since it existed.
I didn't even know Glenn Becking your way into something was a thing.
Yeah, but if she had an issue, I said to her, is it money? Is it the tone? Any of this stuff you can tell me. And she goes, no. I'm going to say I don't believe that. I simply don't believe it. And it's not to be delusional, but I saw no evidence of it, and there was no evidence of it in our communication.
Maybe Bobby was just a big enough prick for the both of you.
No, I don't know what their interactions were like. I never saw them interact. I know she was on his show for a long time.
Yeah.
And she didn't work for me, by the way. She's not a Jim Norton employee. She worked for Riotcast.
She worked for Chip.
Yeah.
It's a different scenario.
She didn't either. And we had never talked money. I sent her, I paid her for like the first 16. I would just give her like checks here and there. Like, not a whole lot of money. I'm not making much money on that.
Right.
There's really
Especially
not
in the
much money to be
beginning,
made. Yeah.
Or like,
No, Bobby joined the alt-right, dude. He's a Proud Boy now.
You want to
He's
skip
a
forward a little bit?
problem.
Of course.
What's the next?
Whatever one's shitloaf.
What's the next shitloaf poll?
Let's see here.
We can even get Dave on the phone. I'm fine. We have an hour till our first guest comes. So if he has something he wants to, so maybe he can enlighten me. Maybe he can enlighten me.
That's true.
But
What is this? What is this?
Is Dave jealous?
Is Dave of the Chipper? Okay, how
That's
could
all
you
it
not?
says
I never said he was jealous.
No, I'm just
But Chip
saying what it
did.
said here.
dirtbag Highlander.
if people are like, oh, well, Dave is jealous of the way that Jim or Chip hits on Lauren on the show, you know, I if she just left Jim's show and that was the case, but she left podcasting altogether. She quit stand-up. It's not like you just crushed her room and said, no, bitch, you're staying at home now.
No, I didn't tell her she can't do the Chip Chipperson show. She's not allowed to speak this month.
Yeah.
All right, so don't take it personally.
You guys are kinky.
I have a question for you, and you might not be able to answer this or not, but this is the way that I see it, right? Because I don't think it completely has nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with your influence about like saying shit. I think you guys just moved in together. I think that she's been doing comedy and kind of like fucking with it for a couple of years, like here and there, kind of dipping her toes in the water. She got very close with you, sees how hard you work, sees how desperately unsuccessful you are. and then she's like, I'm not going to go fucking do that.
She goes, no thanks. Thank you, but no thanks.
Is there something like, I mean, like.
Well, listen, I guess I can't really completely deny that happened. I mean, that is possible.
But I
don't
mean,
know.
no, 'cause
So,
look,
oh my God, does Jim Norton despise me? maybe she did. By the way, I thought things were going pretty good for me. We were just
you're
looking
doing
over
good.
Libertas numbers.
You're
the
doing
other
good,
day.
but
We were really happy.
it's not great.
Remember?
So no, but
You're gonna have to pull her from a super successful podcast. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
No, I mean, is there something? Because no offense to Lauren, like, you know, I'd never seen her on stage, but there's no way she's slightly funny on stage. Impossible. It's impossible. I'm not shitting on her.
Do you understand the?
But wait, but she was hold on. But she was
very-
uncomfortable with the wait. According to Dave, she didn't like working for me and Bobby.
It's very mean what Lewis just said.
Like, yeah, but I've never said remotely. Chip just talked about her cooter. Chip never said anything real.
Yeah.
She ain't fucking good at what her dreams are.
Yeah. Is there a joke behind that?
No.
No, that's just the direct statement.
Like you're fucking giving like you didn't enjoy working for me when she was. I'd be more than happy to have Dave on the phone. Let's if we could try to get him on the phone. If you call in, let's.
Shitlove, you're a producer for Jim Norton, right?
That I am.
Do you hate working for Jim?
No, fuck no.
No, but I mean, like, can we get him on the phone? I would love to do that.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'll ask Paul for maybe.
I
Paul's
got his number.
Oh,
Obviously.
okay. Well, I mean, I'll give him a call.
He texted him.
Yep. Hold on.
He didn't text him back though.
Well, I didn't want to say that publicly. Oh wait. Hold on a second. Yeah, and maybe he didn't have my number. So I wrote.
How could he not have your number if you texted him? When you text somebody, they have your number.
No, but he didn't know it was me. So I wrote. But this is the text I had sent to Dave back on September 15th. Hey man, Lauren and I texted last night. I haven't heard back since early night. Is she okay? And then a little while, and then I just wrote, it's Jim. Is she okay? That was all I asked him.
So
that was the extent of my text messaging with Dave.
What was the second text? What did the second text say?
Hey man, Lauren and I texted last
What
night.
did the last part say?
I haven't heard back since early last night. Is she okay?
Right.
It's Jim.
Okay, so what part is that he didn't have your number?
He didn't say that, did he? He didn't say he didn't have my number, did he?
Yes, he does. He says it.
You said it's Jim at the end of your text.
I did, yeah. I mean, look.
Let me see. Yeah, the second. It's Jim. Okay.
Yeah, and that came.
Can we go to the shitloaf?
One was 11:05, and the next one was 11:05 a.m. They were both the next morning.
So for 30 seconds, he did not have your number.
Maybe not.
But then 30 seconds later, can we go to the shitloaf poll where he says that?
Yeah, he addresses the Jim text here. Hang on.
Yeah. Is that where he says he didn't have his number?
That's what.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for the shitloaf poll, shitloaf.
Yeah, and I listen. Jim is right about that. He did text me,
And you didn't text him back?
and I didn't text him back. But look, I don't know what to say. I guess that one's my bad. But I don't have Jim Norton's number in my phone, and literally Lewis told me this today, and I just searched my text messages and like. He did text me, but it's like, dude, I'm not friends with Norton like that. I don't have his number in my phone. I don't have it saved. He texted me. I'm not even making. I'll show you the fucking text. He didn't even text me like, hey, it's Jim Norton, like blah blah blah. He texted me a text. I just got a text from a number, and then after it, but with no name attached, just a like, hey, dude, what's going on with Lauren type thing, and then after it, a text that said it's Jim. And it just, I don't know. It's literally the day it happened.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait, no. Okay, no, he's right. He's not lying.
Right.
He didn't know that she works with Jim Norton on a podcast.
Right.
And apparently she had been talking about leaving for months and had no idea. So when I didn't hear back from her and he got a text saying, hey, is Lauren okay? I wasn't angry at her. I wasn't saying fuck her. I was literally concerned that she might be. Is she really sick? So I was like saying like it was unlike her to not get back to me. Is she all right? It's Jim. He didn't know what Jim it was. I assumed you were. I didn't. We're not friends like that.
Did you write GYM?
No, I spelled it JIMI like Hendrix. So I didn't realize that I gave Dave too much credit. I would assume he knew. Like not only was I thought he had my number. I should have realized why would I have given it to him? But I didn't. I assumed he had my number. But I just wrote it's Jim right after 11:05 and 11:05.
Do you think he's?
But the way he's presenting it, like, dude, I'll even show you the text. Like it's this crazy thing that I put my name after it. It's insane.
Do you think he's got so many anonymous "Hey, how's Lauren" texts coming in
from guys named Jim? I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people named Jim were concerned.
Maybe he doesn't even open them. He just looks at the previews because it's like another anonymous "Hey, how's Lauren" text. This is going to take up my entire day.
Yes. So we're trying to get him on the phone now. Anthony's left him a message.
He might be asleep.
He might be. Yeah.
He's a comedian.
But just in that, like the way he's paying, like it was this bizarre thing that I had reached out and said, "Is she okay?"
What am I, a schmuck on wheels? Maury.
Yeah, like I've never texted you about her before, and then all of a sudden she tells me she's sick and I'm not hearing back, so I ask if she's okay. How is that fucking crazy?
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I should be.
You didn't announce yourself at the beginning. You announced yourself at the end. I mean,
it's insane.
Do you not know how to text?
I know. I'm a terrible person. What a fucking awful person.
I mean, you've got to look at this text to believe me.
I know.
He says it's Jim. After, not before. I mean, look, I got the evidence if you don't believe it.
Yeah, trust me. Like, I've been getting texts from all these people. You shut up. No one's texting you.
You don't think so?
No.
Reason why Lauren wasn't responding, and she had told him she was sick. They were in a thing, and then she like stopped responding to him that day. It's because she went to the hospital that day.
That's what thank you. That's what I was worried about.
She went to the hospital.
I wasn't mad when I wrote that. I was worried she might be in the fucking hospital. So I was like, is she okay? Like,
if my wife ever goes to the hospital and you have the nerve to text me and ask if she's okay, expect a cold shoulder, Jim.
But if I didn't have that text, or if I wasn't talking about it, when you listen to him describe it, you would think that I was texting angrily, what the fuck, dude? But I wasn't.
Or like, yeah, get out of our lives, Jim Norton. Like, we have a personal life. Like, what are you crazy obsessive?
I hadn't heard back. I knew that was a little odd. I said, is she okay? I was worried. And now that's the first I've heard the first confirmation I've gotten, and that was September 15th until now that she was in the hospital. I didn't know that.
Oh.
So that's what I was kind of worried about.
Okay, well, better late than never.
What? Terrible.
Shit, but it's like, I didn't get back to Jim's text the day
must
my
have really
girlfriend
beat
was
the
in the
shit out of her.
Yeah, she was fucking still doing the Chip podcast.
And her pussy was
And I said,
short,
bitch,
because
you
after
are
she was
getting-
knocked out, Dave fucking had his way with her sexually.
Oh, he did.
Wow, yeah, I know. I get why you wouldn't want to be on Chip.
Yeah.
Terrible the way
Yeah.
Chip spoke to you.
It was tough.
But Dave, my question is, with putting you're a smart guy, putting 2 and 2 together when Jim sends you the text like, "Hey, is Lauren okay?" And then it's Jim. I mean, those
No.
two-
I whatever it is.
By the
Dan
way-
wants to say to him, "You full of shit idiot."
Yeah, Dan is being so diplomatic in that question. Like Dan is presenting. He said, "Dave, the premise that you presented us just now makes no sense."
It's silly. Like, what motive do I have
Because-
to bullshit you about? It's silly.
Dave, you're a smart guy. Like you can put when accumulating all the data acquired in that text messages in that series of 2 texts. Matched with the fact that you have direct access to Lauren. So even if you're like, Lauren, who is this guy named Jim who might be texting me to see if you're okay? There are lots of ways to figure out which Jim it is. Or you could even respond, who dis?
Yeah,
I've
or
responded
something.
that way before. That's the who dis.
But he's making it seem like I'm mad he didn't respond. You didn't get back to me while she was in the hospital. I'm more. But that's just not the tone of it.
No, it just pointed out because that's the weirdness of it. That's what's shady about it.
That was just odd to me that I didn't hear back. Like, why wouldn't you respond either or the next day or the day after and go, "Oh yeah, no, she's okay." Like you knew we worked together, and I was asking out of concern. But if you only listen to this, you would think, "Oh my God, that Jim is crazy.
Yeah.
He was demanding Dave get back to." Like I was shocked I had his number. I was shocked.
Get a text, you're like, "Yeah,
Dude,
just
me
brush
and
it off."
Liz's numbers have been given out to the fans. I get texts
This
from
is
a
true.
million
Yeah,
different
I know,
people.
'cause
Liz can't
I've
get-
had
we
that
can't do a
happen in Louis
show
Square.
I will
without
bet you
going out.
$1,000. Give me my phone right now. I bet you I've gotten phone calls from fans during this show.
Dude,
or
I
text.
have
Hold on,
no-
hold on. I'm not even lying. Hold
But
on,
he's
let me
talking
show
about
you
the
right
number
now.
being given out. Don't act like you didn't. You knew.
Of course you did.
Of course you knew.
You definitely knew.
But you know,
and then how do you I guess can you search on your text messages, like after Lewis says it, you go like search for the word Jim, and then you find that because he said he searched it out. After Lewis said Jim said he texted you, he said he searched his texts and found that one.
Yeah.
But he must have had to go through a million texts from fans before he found you.
Oh my God,
that must have taken all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't say fuck Dave. He didn't get back to me.
Right.
I wasn't saying he should kill himself. I just seemed odd. Yes, sir.
If he has an Android phone, it is very easy to search through text messages.
I would love to. What are the bubbles? Blue or green?
Blue or green?
Blue or green? Blue or green bubbles?
Green.
Hold on one second. I'll
Blue
tell
or
you.
green?
Hold on now. Let me find it.
'Cause that's the only thing about an Android phone is then you got a green bubble and everybody's like, oh, I guess he's on welfare.
Yeah.
You know?
Hold on a second. Let's see
He's probably got
here. It's the
Sprint
blue
service.
bubbles.
Blue bubbles. Blue bubbles. Not on welfare, but he saw
Yeah.
the text.
Yeah, then he definitely searched. He scrolled.
He did scroll. Yeah. Yeah.
I have 5 missed phone calls, 5 text messages. I'm not lying.
Look at this.
Look, from numbers, the stream is fucked. This guy,
You're a
ready?
cunt. It's Jim.
Give me Lauren back. Chip.
Dude, I might have known if he had said it's Chip, he would have had a better shot of me.
Yeah,
Do you think
Of
this
course. You had to hear that every night when he got home. Chip said, and Chip said,
he didn't like that, did he?
how could you?
No,
How
no.
could you?
Oh my God, it was so funny today. It really wasn't that funny.
Do you know how much I would hate if people were saying like you're with Chip's girl?
Look, I can only begin to sympathize. I was sitting on the couch last night. It was Jess's birthday. We just had family over. Everybody left. Jess made herself a cup of tea, put the TV on. We're relaxing. I lay down on the couch. I look over. Sitting on the coffee table is a white mug with that fucking face on it. Because Jess,
Was that her gift? Is that what you got her?
Jess had decided to put some tea up in that mug. And just that, I was like, ugh. Just sitting there in this moment of
Understandable.
peacefulness.
This wonderful moment. You're invaded by this asshole.
So I can only imagine if the evening came and I was like, Jess, how was work? And she was like, oh my God, today Chip and this dog walker were making me laugh. I'd be like, ugh.
Yeah.
I do podcasts too. I have funny stuff going on too.
What are you
That's
doing,
what I
a
would
girl
say.
or something? And you're like, oh, Chip. Hey, Chip.
Hey, Chip.
Chipper. Sorry, buddy.
Chip, we're in the ER. Talk to you tomorrow.
Sorry, buddy.
I'm not lying about this. I have, look, from not saved number.
Where's the next clip by Shitlow? Or is this part of the same clip?
That's it.
That's the.
You only
those-
pulled 2 clips? S to
Four.
the L. Okay.
Those are the shitloaf polls. It's not great. I don't know if it would hold up in court if Dave were like, he'd be like, of course I miss Jim's texts. Look at all the phone calls and texts that Lewis has on his phone.
Yeah, that's not a good
Like,
argument.
what are
But,
you
and there's
talking about?
5. If you're doing a live stream and fans have your number and you get 5, Jesus Christ, Lewis. But again,
Maybe pump it up a little bit. Pump it up, Lewis.
I don't want to, Again, I'm not saying he's lying, dude. If Dave says that he didn't, although he says I didn't encourage or discourage, I always find if you are with somebody, you should encourage them. You should encourage them. But if he says he didn't influence, I believe him. And if I was accusing you, Dave, I would have come right out and accused you.
Right.
I really didn't know. I had seen a little bullshit on Twitter. Fans email me weird shit all the time. Most of it I never discuss on the air. But I don't take that to be a fact. But if I see a couple of the same thoughts, of course I had to it was something that crossed my mind, but it wasn't something I accused you of. And it wasn't an inside the actor's studio moment. I was just trying to be honest about, look, this is what I thought. And that was it. I was trying not to be accusatory because that would be unfair and shitty.
Right.
But,
Right. Well,
look, I don't want fans attacking Lauren. I really don't. It's up to you what you do.
what about Dave?
If she doesn't want to be in the business and do whatever it is, man. If she's got her own stuff, I wish her. I mean this. I'm not being diplomatic. I hope that her health is okay.
People are calling Dave a chip cuck.
He is a chip cuck, of course he is. But for real, I hope that her health is okay and she's fucking. I don't want to see anything bad happen to her. I don't want to see her sick. Whatever. She left. I think she should have handled it differently. At least with me as a person. I thought our working relationship was very good. She was valued. Fuck it. She left. We'll move on. Believe me, Chip is bigger than any one fucking person. But
Including
Dave,
Jim Norton.
of course. Chip is much. Jim does not sell out like Chip does. By the way, Jim will be in Vegas, not selling out at the Tropicana. Chip will be there. I now have to say, you think your lives are shit? I have to now say Chip will be there. But whatever. If she didn't handle it well, and maybe she doesn't like confrontation, whatever. But just good luck to her, whatever she does. I want to see her healthy, and But Dave. If you want to call in the air, we'll hash this out, and however tone you want to hash it out. Believe me, I'm happy to deal with you pleasantly, or we can do it fucking shitty, however you want.
Right.
But let's just do it honestly. That's how I want to do with it. No character, no smugness, no fucking. I couldn't believe it. Like I was 100% truthful in the way I described my impression of it, and I would like to hear that same.
He doesn't deal with you on text, though. I don't think he's going to call in.
No, I think you would. I really do. I think you would. Maybe he didn't get back to me on a text because he had bigger things to think of, and he just forgot. Whatever, that happens.
He had fans texting him.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was flooded. But, I would hope he would call in, and, let's see, I'll send him a text, and he can act like he's shocked by it. Hold on. I'll send him a...
Another text from a fan. I get upwards of 5 of these a day.
It's Jim Norton, comma.
Sam.
Thank God that didn't pick up. My Siri knows. I'm a comedian and a radio personality. I was hoping we might be able to talk to you on the air. I realize you are super busy. Period.
I wonder if he'll catch the tonality.
No, he'll probably go, oh, that's who that is.
Yeah. He's right. I am super busy.
You are super busy. I should have put a winky face after super busy. But yeah, let's see if he'll call in. I mean, obviously all the fans listening have Dave's number, so being flooded with fan
Oh, yeah. That must
texts.
be crazy for him right now.
Yeah, I'm willing to discuss it. Because he's saying, like, I don't know anything that Lauren said, and she didn't make me privy to that information, so I don't want to assume it.
She's obviously telling 2 different stories, though. She's saying to him that how much she has resentment towards you and Bobby, and then to you, she's like, "Oh no, everything's cool, everything's cool."
But I try to pick up on moments in like things in the moment, and the fact that I would say to her for real, and I apologize if the audience is getting bored talking about this. We won't harp on it all fucking month.
People love the drama.
But I would literally say to her after, like, I would tell her that sometimes I'd walk up to her and go, "You were so fucking great on that episode." And I'm not saying that I'm doing anything great. I'm just talking to somebody I'm performing with who I thought was super funny on the fucking episode, who I thought handled it great. And I would tell her that. Because I know that when I'm performing, it's like if you're communicating with someone that you're working with and they know that if you know that they value what you do, it makes you feel better about what you're doing. I like that too. So whatever. I don't believe that there was any bad feelings, but if there were, I literally had zero sense of it. Maybe I'm unaware. So I guess, look, let's break and come back, and hopefully we can get a hold of Dave, keep going, talk about whatever. We got Pat and Oswald at 10, and we have, who else is in? We